Can UX designers make 200k? I definitely think it's possible. Can UX designers have tattoos? Well, actually... This one?
Yeah, go with this one first.
Alright. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this concept. This is called Google Autocomplete. And we're going to answer whatever people search about UX design. Maybe you give me this one.
I'll give you this one like later.
Okay, alright. I'll hold my hand like that.
Okay, yeah.
I don't look at it.
Okay.
The best UX design courses. That already starts off great. I mean, obviously Career Foundry, but I'm biased. I took the course there. The best UX design portfolios. Oh, that's a difficult one. So I think a really good UX design portfolio is one that balances good visuals with a telling story. And what is always very important to keep in mind is to stay very straight to the point, because recruiters don't have much time. So I'm not gonna call out any particular portfolios, but that's what I would see as the best UX portfolio. The best UX design boot camps. I didn't attend the boot camp, so I'm not gonna call any names, but the best UX design bootcamp is one that is honest about the UX journey. Not every bootcamp is that, and prepares you well with a good portfolio. So always do your research. If you want to become a UX designer, doing your research is very important. The best UX design books. The book that inspired me to become a UX designer is called Don't Make Me Think from Steve Krug. This has already been out on the market for years and years, but it really shows well why it is important to have user-friendly websites. Now, the best book that turned me into a good UX designer is not a design book. It is actually a book about communication, and it's called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall B. Rosenberg. And that teaches you a lot about active listening, which is very important when you want to be a good communicator. The best UX design websites. The best UX design websites for inspiration for me personally is Instagram. That's where I learn a lot of design and other creators and other designers, so I get a lot of inspiration from them. But if I want to learn more about UX methods, then one of my favorite websites is called NN Group. That's like a website that I started using in the beginning of my career, and I still check them weekly. So that one I highly recommend. And I think we're done with this one. All right.
You can turn it over.
But there is more. Can UX designers work remotely? I think right now what we've seen with the current situation that we're in is that it is very much possible for UX designers to work remotely, and more companies are offering this option. What you need as a UX designer basically is a computer and a good internet connection. So if you're someone that's interested in working from abroad or working remotely, then UX design is a good profession for you. Can UX designers work part-time? This is an interesting discussion that I had with my friends lately. So yes, there are plenty of UX designers that are working part-time. However, in my personal experience, I feel like it takes quite a lot of time to really think into a complex solution or a complex problem. And so personally, I find it hard to imagine myself working part-time because it takes quite a lot of time to get into this design flow. But it is possible. I know people that work part-time as UX designers. Can UX designers make 200k? You tell me. I definitely think it's possible. It's depending on where you live. So I live in Berlin, and it might be a bit of a stretch for me to make 200k. But if you live in the Bay Area or somewhere else in the USA where you have a tech hub and you are of a certain level of seniority, then maybe it's possible. But let me know how you did that. I want to know that too. Can UX designers have tattoos? No, they can't. If you have a tattoo, then forget about becoming UX designer. It's not illegal. That's a joke. You can have a tattoo. But it depends on what kind of tattoo. Can UX designers become rich? I mean, that depends on your definition of rich. But generally speaking, UX design is a booming business, and it is also a profession where you can make a good salary. Can UX designers code? Some of them can. It's definitely possible. Is it a must? No, you don't have to become good at coding in order to become good at designing. I, for one, am not good at coding, for example. Can UX be done remotely? Yeah, we already answered that question. Yes, it can. Can UX be used in Scrabble? I have no clue. Hopefully. I think that has a very high word value, or how do you say that? I never play Scrabble, but that I know, that you can make a lot of points. When can UX get in the way? Oh, I like this question. When can UX get in the way? It can get in the way when you're working in a company that is still very low in what we call UX maturity. So companies that are still very unfamiliar with design. It might take a lot of time for you to explain the value of design, to explain your role as a UX designer, and then it might get in the way for some stakeholders because they just want you to create pretty images. So can UX get in the way? Sometimes.
Stop too late. It's not gonna help.
Are UX designers?
I see already one coming off. I'm not looking.
No,
I'm not looking.
No.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Are UX designers? Are UX designers? This already starts off philosophical. Are UX designers in demand? Yes, this is a relatively young industry, and what I see is that more and more companies understand the value of UX designers. So also more and more companies are looking for UX designer. Having said that, the UX market is also getting more and more competitive. So when I started out as a UX designer, I was very lucky to be at the right time and at the right place. So it was relatively easy for me to find a role as a junior UX designer. Nowadays that might be a little bit more difficult, but please don't be discouraged. UX designers are still high in demand, and if you put the time that is needed in your UX journey, you can definitely work as a UX designer. Are UX designers happy? No, I would say, well, I can only talk for myself. I'm really happy also being a UX designer. Are UX designers in demand 2022 edition? Yes, also in 2022, are UX designers in demand? Are UX designers in high demand? Someone really wants to know if they can get a job as a UX designer or not. So yes, I think this needs a little bit of nuance. So what is in high demand are experienced UX designers. At least that's what I see in my region. I live in Europe, more precisely in Berlin. And here I see a lot of companies looking for senior and principal UX designers. There are a lot of juniors in the market, so the demand might not be that high. But if you're a more experienced designer, then yes, there is definitely a high demand. And the best way to become an experienced designer is to start designing and get that work experience with the years. Are UX designers paid well? Yes, they can be paid well. This of course depends on where you are, what industry, your level of experience, but generally working in tech or working as a UX designer, both of them are not the same, can be a very high paying, good paying job. Are UX designers rich? Well, I'm not a millionaire yet, if that's what you're asking. But yes, you can make good money as a UX designer. However, money is not the most important thing, and especially when you're working as a UX designer, I think it's very important that you also bring some passion for the industry, because in a lot of companies, UX design is still something that is very new. So that means you'll have to have a lot of uphill battles, you have to bring a lot of passion for your job, because you have to make other people enthusiastic for what you're doing and explain to them what your role is. And that makes it much easier when you not only enjoy the salary, but you also enjoy the daily grind. Do UX designers code? I do know that there are job postings that ask coding knowledge of UX designers, but frankly, I've never coded a single line of code in my career as a UX designer. So for me personally, the answer would be no. There is also not a need to have coding skills as a UX designer. It helps if that is what you enjoy and you want to learn more about it, but no, it's not necessary, and UX designers usually also don't code. Do UX designers work from home? They can. I am currently working from home. I'm very keen on going back to the office though, I have to say. But yes, it is possible for a UX designer to work from home. Everything you need is a stable internet connection, a computer, and maybe a monitor, and you're set to go. Do UX designers make a lot of money? There are a lot of questions on here that are linked to being rich, having a high salary, getting that dough, so to say. And yes, UX designers can make a lot of money, but it is also depending on your level of experience, the region you're in, your role. So it is very much possible, but it's not a guarantee. Do UX designers need to draw? I love this question. A lot of people ask me, do I have to be good at drawing in order to become a UX designer? No, you don't. UX designers do draw wireframes, but you don't have to make pretty wireframes. That's not the goal of it. Wireframes are a very functional tool. So don't worry if you cannot draw at all. That is also not needed in order to become a UX designer. And there are actually a lot of UX designers that don't like drawing at all. So I hope that makes you feel a little bit better. Do UX designers need a degree? No, they don't need a degree. And actually, we made a video about this, about different ways on how to become a UX designer. And in that video, I also explain if you need a degree or not. Spoiler alert, you don't. And there are also many other ways. I personally also don't have a design degree. Do UX designers travel? UX design definitely is a field where you have the possibility to travel a lot. If you work for an agency or if you work for different clients, maybe as a freelancer, then you have that flexibility to travel around the world. So if you're someone that really likes to explore different sides of the world or different areas, then UX design might be a good profession for you. Do UX designers code Reddit? I do hope that Reddit has some UX designers on their team. I'm thinking that this is probably someone looking for a subreddit if UX designers code. I'm already giving you the answers here. No, you don't need to code, and you also don't have to ask Reddit. The answers are found here. Do UX designers build websites? That can be one of our tasks. So sometimes we do indeed build websites, but we also design apps, sometimes even design services. But in that case, you would also often be called a service designer. But yeah, that can be part of our job, is to build websites. But that doesn't always mean that you're only making websites. And then lastly, do UX designers use Photoshop? Thank God we don't. We have very dedicated design tools that will help us to create wireframes and final designs much easier than Photoshop. So I haven't had Photoshop for a very long time, and I'm very grateful for that. Personally, I use Figma, which is a very well-known design tool, but you also have designers that use Sketch, and if you're someone that is used to Adobe products, then you also have Adobe XD, which is the Adobe version of a design tool that UX designers might use. I think that went well, but sometimes I was like keeping a straight face because I could see you laughing. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more of these kinds of videos. If you want to become a UX designer and you want to know how, then there is no need to put this into Google. I made a video on how to become a UX designer in which I share 7 essential steps on what you can do to get your UX journey started today. Let's check out the video. You can find it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.
It's good.
Yes. The top UX design.
This was like literally, yeah. The paper quality was quite good though, I thought.